So a lot of school districts going mask optional or mask recommended after the appeals court decided to not take up the case that Governor J.B. Pritzker appealed from the Sangamon County Circuit Court, ruling his rules null and void. That also follows the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules determining that the rules for the Illinois Department of Public Health for mask mandates in schools and vaccine mandates for staff were blocked. So the appellate court saying that they're not going to take the case up because the case is moot. And the Illinois Supreme Court being asked by the Pritzker administration through Attorney General Kwame Raoul to take up this case. It is the WMAY Morning News Feed. I'm Greg Bishop. I connected with John Burkey. He is the executive director of LUDA, the Large Unit District Association, to kind of get his reaction to where we're at right now with the appeals court and the action they took late Thursday. So here's what John Burkey had to say.
Well, I think things continue to be in turmoil in terms of the guidance that actual districts are getting. But I think it's pretty clear we are progressing to a point where masking will not be required statewide in schools. And I think with the appellate court decision today, we are just one big step closer to that. And many of the districts I represent have gone mask optional. In fact, many say mask recommended because they still feel, certainly for many kids, but it is recommended, not required in many of our districts. We still do have some districts that the metrics in their local communities on spread is where they aren't comfortable going to that point yet. And so we still have some in different places, but I think our districts are much more looking at this now as a local issue than they were even a couple of weeks ago.
So again, a conversation I had with John Burkey from the Large Association, and I asked him about local control because that's something that the Sangamon County Court said ultimately they should govern themselves accordingly with the rules null and void, and the appellate court seemed to echo that as well. Here's what Burkey had to say about the issues of local control when it comes to mask mandates.
A couple weeks ago, ISB put out a bulletin to superintendents right after the Sangamon County Court ruling that said you need to consult with your legal counsel and look at the opinion and follow the advice basically of your legal counsel. And I believe at that time there was definitely the message was received anyway from superintendents that they needed to make the best decision legally and in their community as they could. And so I do not think they expect that ISB will be pursuing that at this point.
So I reached out to the Illinois State Board of Education if they're going to punish schools that go mask optional, as they've done for months now, trying to go after these various school districts. And they didn't directly respond to that question. Instead, they put out a statement from Dr. Ayala, the superintendent of schools for the state, that ultimately said that the local school districts need to talk with their local attorneys in order to best determine what approach they take. But where are we at right now? Burkey is a bit optimistic in looking at COVID metrics and as the trajectory downward continues in a lot of areas.
Well, I think if we can look at the glass half full, I think we're all very thankful that once again, COVID numbers are just rapidly decreasing. And I think we all can hope this is finally a return to normalcy. And yes, the next variant could be around the corner. But here's what I think is we have really gotten to a place where I think we've learned to deal and live with COVID a lot better. And that certainly includes our schools. I mean, we need to have our kids in school. And I think we've learned how to do it safely, but to do it in a way where we can keep kids in school, hopefully be at a point where we can keep from quarantining at least a great majority of kids and get on as much as normal as is possible in conjunction with safety.
So I asked John Burkey, he's the executive director of the Large Unit District Association. Another question that I said he's open to answer or not answer, and the question was, Should the Attorney General ask the Supreme Court to take this decision up, which could continue to muddy the waters, so to speak?
Yeah, no, you're right. I won't. I don't want to pretend to be able to give advice to the Attorney General. He's much more knowledgeable on legal issues than I am, and he needs to do what he feels is legally best.
So again, conversation I had with the Large Unit District Association after the ruling of the appellate court, saying that the governor's appeal in this case is moot. So we've got indication hundreds of school districts going mask recommended, even here locally with District 186. One of the members that was sued in this and a member of the Large Unit District Association recommending masks, highly recommending, but not going to be mandated. So this is obviously Illinois, where other states are doing completely different things, lifting their mandates altogether. Some states haven't had mandates in place for over a year. So obviously Illinois is a bit of an outlier in the ongoing conversation about mask mandates and whether the executive branch has carte blanche in making those particular mandates. Because as of right now, those rules are not in place. They're still null and void, according to the Sangamon County Court, after the appellate court decided that the governor's appeal is moot. And we'll see what happens with the Attorney General's request with the Supreme Court, because the Illinois Supreme Court could decide that they're just not going to take the case. So we'll continue to watch this closely. Up next, we'll get your reaction here on the WMAY Morning News feed. I'm Greg Bishop at 217-629-7970. Now